Sure that CCN clip ready. We need it for the second.
4.
That's from the Clarendon correspondent coming through now.
3.
All the international stories in the folder. Good to
2.
Newsreaders all set.
Yeah, man, everything set, everything ready.
1. From the grid to Morant Point, News Talk 93 FM has got it covered. Across the 7 seas to the 4 corners of the world, it's all captured on the 93 radar, 93.1, 93.3, 93.5, 93.7 and 93.9 on your FM dial. World News at 5 starts now.
Here on News Talk 93 FM, I'm Errol Lee. Coming up in this newscast. Andre Bernard is here. Andre Bernard is here as well. Hi, Andre.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, coming up in this newscast, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Marion Bullock-DeCass disputes report by UHWI Hospital that she took weeks to respond to infectious outbreak at the institution.
Several cabinet approvals made at Jamaica House press briefing today.
Consumers lose confidence in the pace of economic growth.
And police say 2 members of the JCF are in custody in relation to the murder of Manchester businesswoman Norma Henry Coleman.
Now the news in detail. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Marion Bullock-DeCass is disputing a report by University of the Hospital UHWI personnel that she took 3 weeks to respond to an advisory of an infectious outbreak at the hospital. Speaking at a post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House today, DeCass said the minister's response was immediate.
Adds to the actions taken, the response from the Ministry of Health and the regions and parish health departments, it was immediate. Once information was received in terms of any potential cluster of cases or an outbreak at both of these hospitals.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Marion Bullock-DeCass. The University Hospital had stated that it wrote to the CMO on September 7 advising of the outbreak, and she replied on September 21. However, DeCass says she was first informed on October 16, and the ministry immediately took action to assist the hospital. 19 babies have died at the 2 hospitals after being infected with the Klebsiella and Serratia bacteria.
Meanwhile, Bullock-DeCass says there has been no further infection at the UHWI or the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James.
At present, we have had a total of 42 babies who have been affected in the 2 outbreaks that have occurred at the Cornwall Regional Hospital and the University Hospital of the West Indies this year. Unfortunately, we have had to report on 19 deaths, but I am happy to report that in terms of infections, we have not seen any new infections at our hospitals. And for the Cornwall Regional Hospital, the last case was seen on the 14th of this month, and for the University Hospital, the 15th.
Dr. Bullock-DeCass says a technical team from the Health Ministry is working island-wide to address the situation and is taking all necessary precautions regarding the matter.
The technical team at the Ministry of Health continues to work island-wide with our team members in the field. We are aware that with respect to babies who are born and are premature, that they do face a higher risk of infections due to their poor immune systems, which have not been fully developed, and also the fact that some of them are born with other illnesses. We therefore try to take all of the necessary precautions.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Marion Bullock-DeCass. She was speaking this afternoon at a post-cabinet Jamaica House press briefing.
Young Jamaica, the youth arm of the Jamaica Labour Party, is calling on churches and pro-life groups to condemn Health Minister Fenton Ferguson over his dead baby's comment. Young Jamaica says Dr. Ferguson's comments in the House of Representatives yesterday that the premature babies who died as a result of a bacterial outbreak at 2 major hospitals were, quote, not babies in the real sense, unquote, is a wicked, insensitive and cruel comment. The groups argue that the minister's comments are the clearest example of his negligence, breach of public trust and gross insensitivity in this escalating scandal. The organization's president, Howard Chamberlain, says it's been saying for over a week that the government has placed little priority on the deaths of these infants because of their premature state. He says it was clear that little value was placed on their lives by the callous and cold manner with which the information was relayed to the Jamaican people, and particularly the families who have been looking on.
Meanwhile, opposition members of Parliament took Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson to task over the dead baby scandal. They were seeking answers from him as to what measures are being taken to address the matter with the urgency it requires. South East Clarendon MP Roddy Spencer asked Ferguson about the information received by the Chief Medical Officer and the fact that such critical information was not sent to him.
Minister, are we to believe that the CMO, having received this information, did not consider it important enough to seek your advice?
At the time of the report, when she got it on the 7th of September, there were not 18 deaths in it. That would have been on the Serisha outbreak, and therefore it was that she had gotten something saying that 18 neonates have died and kept it to herself. That wasn't in terms of, I don't have the document before me. I don't want to misquote.
Spencer also asked Dr. Ferguson what he thinks about the number of babies who died in such a short period of time.
Minister, we can compare to any other country, but when you have 19 deaths, not over 1 year period, but 19 deaths within a very short space of time, wouldn't you consider that to attracting serious attention and requires your input and intervention?
When that matter was reported to me on the 16th, which involved 18 deaths, day of the 16th, by the evening of the 16th, I was meeting with the board. On the Saturday the 17th, I was meeting with a wider stakeholdership, including technical staff at the university.
Voices there of MP for South East Clarendon, Roddy Spencer, and Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson. West Portland MP Daryl Vaz also sought answers from the Health Minister, and Dr. Ferguson assured him that international and local experts are working to contain the infections.
Can the Minister indicate whether there have been any further confirmed or suspected deaths due to the two bacteria, which his ministry recently confirmed has claimed 19 lives at the University Hospital and the Cornwall Regional Hospital?
When this process started, there were 18 deaths. I reported today that there was one additional death at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. We have brought in additional experts from the Pan American Health Organization. They have done significant work with our local team, and we are doing everything to curtail what is taking place in terms of infection at both institutions, even as we are looking at other hospitals.
West Portland MP Daryl Vaz and Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson. North Manchester Member of Parliament Audley Shaw was next and wanted to find out whether infectious diseases and deaths of babies were included in the health audit ordered by the Health Minister.
Was the issue of infectious disease and mortality among premature babies specifically addressed in the health audit?
What I would say to you, member, I am very clear that in that audit there was mention relative to infection prevention and control. It did, among other things, equipment, pharmaceuticals, and other things that I have mentioned in the public space. When I spoke on the audit, I said that in my presentation. So, yes, it spoke to infection control. And
you have not answered my question, Minister.
North Manchester MP and Dr. Fenton Ferguson there. The MPs were addressing Parliament yesterday.
Information Minister Sandra Fortner says Cabinet has approved Campaign Finance Reform Amendment Bill 2014. She explains the purpose of the bill.
Cabinet has given approval for the introduction in Parliament of campaign finance reform under the Representation of the People's Act, Amendment Bill 2014. As you may know, the bill was tabled in Parliament yesterday and will be debated in the coming weeks. The bill seeks to implement recommendations from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica in respect of campaign financing.
Information Minister Sandra Fortnum at today's Cabinet press briefing. She says Cabinet has approved garbage truck compact contract to complement the fleet of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, the NSWMA. At the same time, she admits there's a serious backlog of garbage collection.
Cabinet has approved a contract for the purchase of 17 Renault garbage compactor trucks for the National Solid Waste Management Authority. The NSWMA's island-wide fleet for the collection and disposal of domestic and commercial waste consists of 52 units. To operate at optimal efficiency, the authority needs a fleet of approximately 172 trucks. Since 2013, supplementary contractors have been engaged and the NSWMA has overall access to 126 trucks. Despite this, however, there is still a severe backlog in the collection due to the turnout of less than 50% of the trucks required from the contractors.
Information Minister Senator Sandra Fortner, she says there's an urgent need to replace the NSWMA's old fleet of trucks, and the contract for the new trucks will cost just over €1 million, and will help to solve the problem.
Meanwhile, Information Minister Senator Sandra Faulkner says in order to satisfy local and overseas demand, a Canadian company has secured a contract to produce new Jamaican passports valued at $3.7 million.
Cabinet has approved a contract with the Canadian Banknote Company Limited for the procurement of 750,000 blank Jamaican passports. The contract is in the amount of US $3.7 million. It's expected to satisfy the local and overseas demand for Jamaican passports for the next 3.5 to 4 years.
She says the blank passports will be personalized by the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA.
The blank passports are personalized by PICA using a passport issuing and control system which is supplied and maintained by Canadian Banknote Company. Over the years, there have been upgrades to the passport system, and since 2013, these have included new printing technology and increased security features. A further upgrade with the introduction of facial recognition system will come on stream by the end of this financial year.
Minister of Information, Senator Sandra Faulkner.
You're listening to news on News Talk 93 FM. It's 13 minutes after 5. Consumers have lost confidence in the rate of economic growth in the country. Presenting the third quarter business and consumer confidence indices yesterday, noted pollster Don Anderson said confidence in the economy has fallen below levels recorded in the first half of 2015. He says consumers are more concerned about the meager number of jobs produced by what has been described as the slow pace of economic growth being experienced in Jamaica.
Consumer confidence retreats, first time in 3 quarters. Consumers are now saying, hold on a little bit now. I've been waiting, I've been patient. I know we've been talking about economic growth and the fact that jobs are going to become available. I've quite seen it, and there's this little skepticism which has been creeping in. So consumer confidence retreats. It's not negative. Pulling back from the highs that we've seen in the last 3 quarters. As far as they're concerned, prospects for the economy are weak. Job gains disappoint. The income gains are slow. They're not seeing any additional funds in the pot, except of course through remittance. And we can see that there are mixed changes in purchase plans. So
At the macro level, Anderson says firms remain hopeful but are disappointed with the slow progress in achieving the current economic policy goals.
Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, has facilitated investment totaling over $350 million for a free zone to be opened in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The free zone is expected to provide some 2,500 jobs. The companies operating in the zone will also provide 300 engineering scholarships to Jamaican students. Speaking at a press briefing today to announce the Spanish Town Free Zone, President of JAMPRO, Diane Edwards, said the facility is being set up under the Jamaica Logistics Hub Initiative to leverage Jamaica's connectivity to manufacture products for regional markets. She says the investment will have a tremendous impact on St. Catherine and the wider Jamaican economy.
Leader of government business in the Senate, Senator A.J. Nicholson, has asked President of the Senate Floyd Morris to remove the suspension order imposed on opposition Senator Marlene Malahoo Fort so she can attend tomorrow's sitting of the Senate. Senator Malahoo Fort was last Friday suspended after the Senate approved a motion debarring her for at least 6 days. She was suspended for failing to provide the Senate President with a copy of a 2010 letter from the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London offering to sit as an itinerant court in Jamaica if accommodated by the government. Since her suspension, there have been calls from the opposition for the government to apologize to Mrs. Malahoo Fort. However, the Senate President has refused. In a letter to the Senate President, a copy of which was released to the media today, Nicholson said the demand for an apology and the opposition's threat to boycott the current debate on the bills concerning Jamaica's final appellate court have been undermined. Nicholson says the camera recordings at Gordon House for last Friday showed that Senator Malahoo Fort did not enter any of the ladies' rooms. He says perhaps it may not even have been necessary to resort to an examination of the footage, for, in a dramatic turnaround from what she and others maintained at the weekend, at no time did she enter the ladies' room.
Meanwhile, Senate President Floyd Morris says the debate on the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, is likely to continue at the sitting of the Upper House on Friday, October 30. Senator Morris says the continuation of the debate will be considered under advisement in light of the possible withdrawal of opposition members from the proceedings. Last Friday, opposition Senator Marlene Malahoo Fort was suspended for what the president said was her failure to submit a copy of a letter he had requested. Senator Morris says Senator Malahoo Fort's suspension will be lifted once the letter is delivered to his office and the clerk to the Houses of Parliament, either by email, or in person. The Senate President was addressing journalists at a media briefing at Gordon House yesterday.
JLP Councillor Caretaker for the Ocho Rios Division in St. Anne, Michael Belnavis, is calling for workers in the tourism sector to be paid in U.S. dollars, as is done in some Caribbean countries. The call comes against the continued devaluation of the Jamaican dollar against the U.S. dollar and other major currencies. Belnavis says paying the workers in U.S. dollars would cancel out the effects of devaluation, thereby giving them more spending power. He argues that hotels and other foreign exchange earners benefit from devaluation, as it takes fewer U.S. dollars to pay staff each time the Jamaican dollar devalues. Belnavis believes it is now time for tourism workers to also benefit from the devaluation, since it is through their hard work that hotels continue to make profits. That's your local news. For international news, we join the BBC.
BBC News with Stuart McIntosh. The Rosetta spacecraft has stunned scientists by indicating that current theories of how planets, comets and asteroids formed are wrong. Rosetta is tracking the 67P comet and has discovered surprisingly large amounts of oxygen in the gases surrounding it. The findings, published in the journal Nature, suggest the creation of our solar system may have been much less violent than previously thought. The German Interior Minister has appealed to young Afghan asylum seekers to stay at home and rebuild their country. With the influx of refugees and migrants continuing unabated, Thomas de Maizière said it was unacceptable that Afghans formed the second largest group after Syrians seeking asylum. Saudi Arabia has said this week's peace talks on Syria will be an opportunity to test whether Iran and Russia are serious about finding a political solution. Iran is a key supporter of President Assad, but Friday's summit in Vienna will be the first time it's been involved in comprehensive negotiations. The Colombian President, Juan Manuel Santos, has offered the FARC rebel group a bilateral ceasefire to take effect on the 1st of January. If accepted, it would mark a decisive breakthrough in 3 years of peace talks. The FARC rebels have observed a unilateral ceasefire since July. A huge military surveillance blimp has broken free of its moorings in the U.S. state of Maryland, causing federal aviation authorities to issue an air traffic alert. 2 F-16 fighter jets are tracking the helium-filled aerostat, which is almost as long as a football field. BBC News.
Broadcast Jamaican and Newstalk 93 FM now gear the news in the Jamaican language.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Barrett, and these are the news in the Jamaican language. Senior Superintendent Colin Pinnock tell the Tivoli Garden Inquiry this morning says some gunman laugh after some policeman and woman after them shoot them up on Mountain View Avenue in a 2010 for about 20 minutes. Sergeant Wayne Enriquez and Constable Jason Davis get shot and dead in the shooting. Pinnock said the 2 police were dead when got in the area with some other police for try save 2 police officers. One new law where would a change up all the political party them get money for run them campaign, the in the House of Representative, but some changes have to go make to the new law. Yesterday, Philip Palwell, where did a leader for the government business in the House of Representative, when I talk about the bill. Them want carry the bill go to the lower house before the month done. In 2013, the Electoral Commission for Jamaica, when asked for some changes made to the Representation of the People Act. As according to the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, Chief Medical Officer CMO, Dr. Marian Bullock-Ducassi, take 3 weeks to respond after she get the news said that one disease a break out of the hospital. But Dr. Marian Bullock-Ducassi said nothing no go so. Ducassi went attack at one post-cabinet press briefing with the Aguana Jamaica House, and she said the ministry did respond same time. The UHWI claim said them send letter to the CMO on the 7th of September and she never respond till September 21st. But as according to Ducassi, she never hear nothing about it till October 16 and same time the ministry start do things for help the hospital. While this a go on, Ducassi said no other disease no break out Upper UWI Hospital nor down a Cornwall Regional Hospital where in St. James. News from the rest of the Caribbean. IMF tell Antigua and Barbuda say them have to cut concession. Because of that, the government have to go cut down or take back some of the concession and tax break where them give the Antigua and Barbuda people them. Them have to do that if them want to better the country money-wise. All of this a come from Arnold McIntyre, the International Monetary Fund IMF mission chief to Antigua. Him said the IMF see enough way to raise revenue for the country, but him said the country can't afford to give so much leeway with tax, cause this a destroy the country tax base. Himself a cut back on concession are one of the few things the government can do to cut down the government stock debt with a high. News from foreign. The World Health Organization, WHO, said tuberculosis are now the deadliest disease with HIV in the world. The 2 diseases caused 1.1 and 1.2 million people for dead in 2014. The WHO say it not right for tuberculosis to kill so much people and them have cure for it. The World Health Global Tuberculosis Report for 2015 said the world had do good to fight against the disease from 1990, and the death rate go down by 1.5% since 2002. My name is Natalie Barrett, and that are the news in the Jamaican language.
Broadcast Jamaican and Newstalk 93 FM just gear the news in the Jamaican language.
The 5 o'clock Sports Roundup is brought to you by Newstalk 93 FM, life-changing radio.
Good afternoon. I am Mikhail Drama Johns with your 5 o'clock sports roundup here on Newstalk 93 FM, and we begin with football. President of Red Star Premier League RSPL club Montego Bay United MBU, Orville Powell, has declared he will be vying to be the next president of the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF. JFF rules state that each candidate seeking office must be nominated by at least 4 parish associations, and nominations close next Thursday. And Monday night saw Harbourview battling to a 1 2-0 win over Rivoli United in the RSPL at the compound. The lone goal came 20 minutes from the end of regular time, netted by John Ross Edwards some 35 yards out. It marks the side's second win of the season as they moved up 2 places to 8th, joining Rivoli, who are 7th on 10 points. And in schoolboy football, today's action saw scores having St. George's College hand Haile Selassie a 3-1 defeat in the Isaflo Manning Cup second round. In the other game, St. Jago bettered Kingston College 2-1. Meanwhile, in the Rural DaCosta Cup, quarterfinal games saw Dintil Technical edge champions Clarendon College 2-1, Manchester fall by a similar 2-1 at the feet of Lacovia High, and Weir Technical clip Manning School 1-0, the same score by which Paul Bogle beat St. James High. And further afield, today's League Cup action saw new manager Jurgen Klopp earning his first win with Liverpool United, clipping Bournemouth 1-0. Meanwhile, Southampton got by Aston Villa 2-1, while the biggest win was a 5-1 drubbing of Crystal Palace by Manchester City. Meanwhile, it has gone to extra time, the encounter between Manchester United and Middlesbrough. Regular time had ended 0-0. Still on football, 7 candidates will stand in FIFA's presidential election February 26th of next year. The candidates are Prince Ali bin Al Hussein, Moussa Beliti, Jerome Champagne, Gianni Infantino, Michel Platini, Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa, and Tokyo Sexuale. Trinidadian ex-footballer David Nakid was not included on the list, though he earlier said he had submitted his candidacy. Meanwhile, suspended FIFA President Sepp Blatter has suggested there was an agreement in place for Russia to host the 2018 World Cup before the vote took place. And now for cricket. As the West Indies prepare for their one-day international ODI series versus Sri Lanka, Ravi Rampal has opened up on his return to the side. Having been out of the side for some time, he says he's happy to return.
It's been a while since I played for West Indies, and I'm happy to be back. Hopefully I could put together some good performances and really cement my place on the team for a couple of years.
As to what he brings to the squad this time round, the Trinidadian made mention of his experience. A part of that experience is having been a part of the champion world T20 team in Sri Lanka. As such, he could give his view on bowling limited overs in Sri Lanka.
I would say over here, basically similar to India, you use a lot of variation because it's tend to be a little slower here. But execution in any wicket or any game, I think, is the most important thing.
Voice there of West Indies cricketer Ravi Rampal, who is making a return to the West Indies one-day side. Also making a return to the side is Sunil Narain. And finally, in basketball, Stephen Curry last night opened his new NBA season with a game-high 40 points as he and the Golden State Warriors started their title defense. They were playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who they beat 111-95. And in other games, Cleveland Cavaliers opened the season with a defeat, falling 97-95 to the Chicago Bulls, while the other game was a 106-94 defeat of the Atlanta Hawks by the Detroit Pistons. And tonight's action will have 14 games. That's it for the 5 o'clock sports roundup here on Newstalk 93 FM, and I am Mikhail Drama Johns saying stay tuned for the business news and weather report.
The 5 o'clock sports roundup was brought to you by Newstalk 93 FM, life-changing sports radio.
At 5:29, business news on the local stock market today. The index advanced by 1,599 to close at 130,628. The junior market index declined by 8.06 to close at 1,288. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 37 stocks, 21 advanced, 11 declined, 5 traded firm. Market volume amounted to 12.2 million units, valued at $42.8 million. Lime was today's volume leader. Advancing stocks, AMG, Carib Cement, Caribbean Cream, Carreras, Consolidated, Derrimon Trading, Grace Kennedy, Jamaica Broilers, Jamaica Producers, Stock Exchange, Lasco Distributors, Lasco Financial, Lasco Manufacturing, Lime, NCB, Panjam Investment, Proven Investments, Radio Jamaica, Sagicor Group, Sagicor Real Estate, and Scotia Group. Stocks declining, Access Financial, Burrita, Caribbean Producers, Dolphin Cove, General Accident, JMMB 7.25, JMMB Group, Medical Disposables, Scotia Investment, Seprad, and Supreme Ventures. On the foreign exchange market, the U.S. dollar closed at $119.64, the pound sterling at $183.50, the Canadian at $91, and the euro at $133. And for the gas prices, for tomorrow, there has been a 4-cent increase in the price of gasoline, which basically means no increase. A liter of 87 gasoline will sell for $98.79. And E1090 will be sold for $100.44. Automotive diesel goes down by 71 cents to $92.91. Ultra low sulfur will be sold for $100.71, down 19 cents. The price of kerosene goes up by 40 cents, selling for $90.46. Propane will be sold for $33.17, down 38 cents. And butane will see a decline of 44 cents. New price $38.99.
And for a quick look at the weather, there is a trough to the east of Jamaica and a trough over the central Caribbean, which is expected to bring increased clouds and showers to the central Caribbean basin this evening. In the forecast for tonight, conditions will be mainly fair.
To end the news, the main points. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Marion Bullock Ducasse disputes report by UHWI Hospital that she took weeks to respond to news of the infectious outbreak.
Several cabinet approvals made at Jamaica House press briefing today.
And consumers said to be losing confidence in the pace of economic growth. That's your 5 o'clock news roundup here on Newstalk 93 FM. I'm Errol Lee.
And I'm Andre Bernard.
The evening edition is next.